Hello and welcome. I wanted to make this little quick video just to help explain what are the signs of EFT actually working and not working and what to do about it. Okay, so basically when you start tapping on the body and going through this process, there's many signs, many things that happen. Usually people start yawning, burping, their breath changes, like a sigh. I usually find myself sort of take a breath. It's like a rebalancing breath. You'll notice often the voice changes as well, becomes a bit more relaxed. Can't think of the problem. That means that after the tapping video or whatever the process is, when I ask people to go back to think of the original thing they were focusing on, sometimes it's even hard to remember what the issue was in the beginning. And that's a good sign. That's a sign that the brain is not fixated on it anymore and has actually changed its relationship to that thing. Sometimes people say that it's due to something else, like it's due to the medication they took this morning, or the mind will come up with an excuse, often to justify that it's worked or that they can't think of the issue, because it's hard to believe that EFT could be so fast that 5 minutes later that you can't think of the stressful problem that you were so fixated on 5 minutes before and potentially on for weeks and months, and it's gone in 5 minutes, and now the mind kind of scrambles to look for an excuse or a reason why you can't access it, and it can't be due to the EFT. It can't be that simple, right? So that's common. Anytime there's generally more of a feeling, an open feeling inside your body, you feel a bit more expanded, more relaxed posture, and lighter. These are all good signs. These are all signs that something's softening in you and that your body-brain system is moving into a more, a higher state. Sometimes people yawn or burp and they're trying to hide it, they apologize if I'm like working with them, but it's good. So I actually encourage you to yawn. I encourage you to burp. I encourage you to sigh. Even if you feel like people say, "Oh, sorry, I'm not bored. I'm just yawning." It's like, yeah, good. I want you to yawn. Don't worry. I don't mind. Just yawn as much as you like. So when it's not working, generally there's no change in their voice or in their breath. It's very sort of maintained. So they may be tapping, they're saying the right things, but you'll even find in your voice or in their voice when you're listening is that their tone of voice is not really engaged emotionally in what they're saying. They're kind of saying it on a surface level, like, even though I'm angry, that's okay. I fully and deeply love and accept myself anyway, even though I'm angry. So there's no emotional charge. So even though I'm really angry, and even if you can encourage that, even though I'm really angry and I'm really pissed off and I just want to punch something, that's generally good. That's a better sign, because it means you're accessing that particular pattern inside the system. So there's a tightness that doesn't seem to go away. They often get annoyed or frustrated, or you may get annoyed and frustrated as you're doing it, like you're resisting doing it, and like, I don't want to do this. So that's okay actually, because being annoyed and frustrated can even be a form of resistance, where the mind doesn't like it when you're kind of going into new territory, and so it'll sometimes make you feel like you don't want to do it, it's not working, as a way to distract you basically and make you stop. So that's okay. And sometimes, often, I just shift my focus to, it's okay to be annoyed and frustrated. So instead of doing the usual script, I'll go, even though I feel really annoyed and frustrated at doing this tapping, that's okay. Even though I don't want to do this tapping, that's okay. So you're just facing whatever's coming up. If it's being frustrated, that's fine. They are efforting to avoid the feeling. So you can see there's a tightness there. they're really trying hard, or we may be trying really hard, we're doing the process, but we're not allowing ourselves to access the feeling underneath it. Again, that's okay, and it does take a bit of training to kind of get into that space and realize that it's not a talk therapy thing, it's a feeling-based process. And part of this process is learning how to access those feelings. So what do you do when you come across that or you find that in yourself? Basically, I'd say go simple. A lot of people overcomplicate it by focusing on trying to get the right words, and I'd say don't worry about the words, throw the words out even, and just tap and breathe. Just tap and breathe, that's all it is. The tapping still sends the signals in, it's still calming the brain, the breathing helps calm the brain, like it's all working still, right? Have a sip of water and settle. A sip of water makes a huge effect, it relaxes the body, especially after a big tap. Like after each video, stop, have a sip of water, settle, reassess, and then do the next thing if you're going to move on. But definitely have sips of water in between each tap. Again, it's okay to feel annoyed. Don't fight it. Go, yeah, okay, I'm really annoyed. And that's okay. Right. It's when we accept these states that they start actually losing their power. It's when we're trying to avoid it or fight it. I'm going to fight being angry, right? It's like throwing fire on fire. It doesn't put the fire out. It just makes more energy, right? So anyway, it's okay to feel frustrated. And then of course, like, just check your posture, lengthen the spine, close the eyes. This is just going to help the energy circulate, your system circulate much better as you're going through the process. Closing the eyes is a huge one, I find. Some people naturally do it. Some people don't feel comfortable doing it for a while, but I definitely find after a while, when you feel comfortable, just close the eyes down, feel sensations in the body, and just tap and breathe. And that's very powerful in itself. So yeah, that's basically it. And that's just an overview. There's more to it in a higher level training, but just to get you started at this level, that's all you really need to know. And these are some little tips as well, as go deep when you feel good. What that means is when you're feeling quite stable and good, that's actually a good time to dig into some old stuff, guilt feelings, or whatever it is you're working on, because you're at a stable place. You can actually clean a lot of stuff out. If you're in a panic mode, like if you're having an anxiety attack, you can't really you can't go deep into the mind and clean it out. You're just focusing on getting out of the panic attack, right? So when you're in a panic attack, it works, but it only gets you down to stabilize. It'll get you to a point where it just makes you stable. And that's good. But you can't really go too deep when you're in a panic attack. You're just on the top. So when you're feeling stable and good, that's actually a good time to go deep. And I can explain that more in the higher trainings. I just bring it up because we have a tendency to only do these practices when we're in a negative panic state. So when we're in a panic state or severely depressed, then we do these practices to make ourselves feel better. And then when we feel better, we stop all the practices. And then when we feel bad, we go back into like emergency EFT. And then we get stable, and then we stop EFT. So that's what I'm talking about, is that there's another way. Once you've got to stable, that's actually when you go deep, and you can actually do a lot more. So just repeat the videos and the tapping process multiple times. There's potentially thousands of layers of conditioning and triggers inside the subconscious mind. And if you ever get stuck or plateau, that's when you call in a trained practitioner. A lot of EFT you can do yourself. There's no doubt about that. And if you've got some basic training, as well as like understanding the process, you're going to go, it's going to help a lot more. But at some point, you're probably going to hit a plateau, or there's something you won't be able to move through, and that's when you actually need to call in a third party. And you know, they're going to be able to show a different angle on it, and so you know, it's just really refreshing to get a different angle, and that'll help you move through. So that's it. So enjoy the process, and I look forward to seeing the next video.